Peace and love, family. This is D'Angelo McKinney, an ambassador of Christ and God's income specialist. Today, I want to tell you about an interview from Mr. Chang, who is a Japhetic, or who we call Asians nowadays. Now, I'm what we call a black man, a colored man, or African American, a Negro, or a nigger, as we've been called so many times, because they don't want to share our true identity with us. But let this serve as a wake-up call to the mindset of the black man or the African American man. And I just want this to serve as a focal point to ponder upon as a nation of people, just as there's other nations of people. So this man, there's an Asian interviewer. I just found this up on a forum. You can go look it up on yourself and do the research if you want. So there's an Asian interviewer, and he says, "Can you address their concerns, Mr. Chang?" Now this is talking about the black people. He says, "The concerns of black people? Yes, I can. The fact is that we all live under a system of white supremacy." What we call white supremacy is really the rulership of a specific nation. In the Bible, God calls the Edomites and their family lineage. That is the nation that it's over us. So the Asian man, understanding this, says, the fact is that we live under a system of white supremacy. He goes on to say that we Asian people look back at our long history of conflict with the European. We observe their strategies being how they conquered other nations and other lands, and how they instituted principalities and systems to oppress other nations and to put them in yokes or bondage of servitude to them. He says, we as Asian people look back at our long history of the conflict with the European. We observe their strategies and develop our own. In response and in kind, there is no need for loud mass movements on our part, because we intend to overtake them in time through action and personal sacrifice. See, he understands that if you just be humble long enough and stand through action and personal sacrifice for that which you're responsible for, instead of trying to go out here and do something beyond your means, but if you just focus on your individual level, which is you and your family, then the community can be better, then the nation can be better. So check this out. The Asian interviewer says, and the black man, Mr. Chang, he does not count into our situation. He is simply here. Now some of y'all might say, "Oh man, that's ridiculous," but if you look at the history of the 1700s and the 1600s on up, you simply just existed. You since your fall from your status as a royal heritage, black man, since your fall from status as a royal lineage, you simply have just been here. Now you've been used to build other nations, but as far as us coming to the fruition of who we are, that has yet to take place, and that's a talk of biblical and historical and prophetic proportion. So we won't get there. So he says he is simply here. Check him out. We do not hate the black man. We just love the Asian man most. So if you had your family, you would love your family first and most, and then you would seek to help those around you, right? He said we just love the Asian man most. Real love, not cliche. So he's just stating like, hey, I don't hate anybody. I'm just doing things proper and in order, according to common sense. We want to see the Asian man happy, so we employ him. We eat together. We spend time with each other. We want his kids to be educated, so we invest in our own schools that offer our children the technical abilities to change the world's power structure in our favor. We want to see the Asian man safe, so we purchase and organize our own communities. We want him to remain Asian, so we reduce the outside influence of other ideologies and cultures. See, we reduce. We don't try to stamp out through pure oppression, but we stand up for who we are and where we come from. We don't just assimilate ourselves into someone else's way of life just because we've been born there. No, one should seek, one should find. And these are things that come once you have pressures in your life. Some of you haven't seen your need in order to understand who you are because there hasn't been enough pressure in your life, and that's okay. While he fought to sniff behind the white man, check this out, the black man has had the opportunity and every right in the world to do the same. See, when the black man was free here in America, when he caught a whiff of freedom, he chose to stay with his master at that time in history. Chose to seek equal rights with the master at that time in history. Or where he says, but he chooses to indict people like him, like me, Mr. Chang says, like an agent for not hiring him over my own brothers. So we get mad because people won't employ us, but they have their own family members to already employ. So it's not that he hates us, he's just giving them opportunity first, which makes sense in terms of nationality. But under Christ, we know that we're all one. But even then, salvation came first to the Jew and then the Gentile. So there's a certain responsibility within the family before reaching the rest of the nations. I hope that makes sense. So he says, I'll reread all that again because I'm adding a lot of commentary in there. While he fought to sniff behind the white man, the black man has had the opportunity and every right in the world to do the same. But he chooses to indict people like me for not hiring him over my own brothers. For me to do this would be foolish, and he's right. And that would not be Asian love, and he's right. In contrast, the black man will fight for the right to be up under everyone else other than other black people who he should feel the most love for. So instead of sitting and striving with our own people as Christ did with his people and strive for them and actually died for them according to the family covenant, we choose to fight for the right to be up under everyone else other than other black people who we should feel the most love for. He says, if our indifference to their situation makes us racist, then what would you call the black man's indifference to his own situation? And here's the focal point. If we as a people cannot truly see our need or continue to operate from a level of saying someone else owes us instead of truly establishing ourselves in the truth, as the Asian man said. He said it up here. He said this. Let me show you exactly what he said. Let's go up here because here is the issue. He says there is no need for loud mass movements on our part because we intend to overtake them in time, through action and personal sacrifice. If we had just took our movements as a nation of people, and I'm not saying that we hate any other race, because this man does not hate black people. He's just taking care of his family first, and that should be respected. He says we intend to overtake them in time through action and personal sacrifice. So if we took the time through action and personal sacrifice, then we too could become a strong nation again amongst the other nations, whom we become to be one of the biggest nations because of what God has said. So this has been D'Angelo McKinney, an ambassador of Christ and God's income specialist. If you go to Howfinancework.media, again, that's Howfinancework.media. Again, that's Howfinancework.media. And you go to Black Ideas, you will be able to see a program that we are bringing forth for the black nation itself as well as other nations. Because remember, this has nothing to do with racism, but pointing out facts for individuals on a national basis so that they can become better people for the society. Point blank period. So Howfinanceworks.media, again, Howfinanceworks.media. and go to Black Ideas, and you can read the homepage as well. Let Mr. Sims know that D'Angelo McKinney sent you. Like, comment, share this video. I'm going to be sharing it to YouTube, and just looking to hear your feedback. Like, comment, share. Howfinancework.media to really get a grasp on what I'm talking about here. Peace and love.